welcome to the RuCap with your host, me, Alex Ringler, and Appa Lenz. I really hope that we get a third hand gesture for next season. Like we need to just keep adding every season, get a new hand gesture. I'm calling in from Hilton Head, South Carolina, where I'm finishing my shows of Chorus Line this weekend. I'll be sad to see the show go, and I'm sad to see this show go. We aren't going to be back for a while, but I love talking with you kids. Say who you are, where you're calling in from, and I don't know, the last time you were at the beach. Russ.
Hi, I'm Russ White, co-founder, co-producer of Q Life Media and the International Drag Queen Database. And the last time I was at the beach was last June in the Hamptons with Martha Stewart.
Okay, lovely. Was the Barefoot Contessa there as well?
No.
No, okay. Well, mine was. Who's that gorgeous creature I see over there in such a good-looking outfit today? Andrew, how's it going?
Hello.
Why is that funny?
I don't know, it just struck a nerve. I'm Andrew Lignelli. I am the Director of Development for the International Drag Queen Database. I'm calling in from Las Vegas, Nevada, and it's been years. I can't even remember the last time I was on a beach.
Get thee to a beach, sir. It's very fun. And the dreaded and feared Mr. over there, I see that chandelier.
Yes, it's the dreaded and feared Walter Kurtz, coming to you live from Donkey Mare, home of the chandelier. The last time I was at the beach was actually this past Sunday out on Fire Island.
Oh, lovely. Oh, yes. I can't wait to get to Fire Island this season. And who's that in that chair over there? Christopher.
Hi, I'm Christopher Henry. I'm calling in from Plymouth, Massachusetts, and I just completed a penis reduction surgery. It's very important to raise what? How dare you? How dare you? And I was going to be so nice to you today, and that is just all out the fucking window. And the last time I was at the beach was actually earlier today, which is why I am massively overdressed. So
yes,
yeah.
You look very overdressed. Yeah.
Thank you. I know
I can't see inside of you. It's very strange.
It's hurting.
Last but not least,
does that mean
so gorgeous. Hi, baby.
Hi, my name is Leah Sky, and I am a drag queen and fashion designer, and your first featured queen on the Drag Queen Database. And I am calling in from Los Angeles, California. And the last time I was at the beach was yesterday because I work on the beach, basically. So I'm at the beach every day. Hence this pale ivory skin tone.
Yes.
I think that makes sense.
I'm hopefully heading to the beach right after this. So let's talk about the show. Okay. So the finale is always super fun, especially since now they've gotten into the rhythm of doing the four queens and the lip syncing thing that they do at the end of the season each time. What did we think of the eliminated queens' looks? Did we have any toots? Did we have any boots? I personally really liked Plastique and our, spoilers ahead, our Miss Congeniality, Nina West. I thought it was really fun. And also like a little kind of like a sexual side of Nina you didn't see before with the back not being there. So I really kind of liked that. Aaliyah, what did you think?
I loved all the queens' looks. There was actually one look that I wasn't a huge fan of, and that was sadly Miss Bangie's look. I kind of wish it was a bit more elevated. I mean, she was a cute little catsuit, little leopard, little, straps and whatnot. But I thought all the other queens brought it. They were in their like best elevated drag, stuff we didn't get to see on the show at all, stuff I wish we could have seen on the show. But overall, I was pretty happy with all of them. I do agree too. Nina West, I really loved her dress. And then I don't know if you noticed, but the back panel was actually cut like a garment pattern itself. It had the little lines and the little scissors. I thought it was super cute.
Oh, cool. That's really fun. Yeah. It was kind of funny. I was watching with some friends, and they weren't super impressed with Angie either. So it's kind of interesting to hear that was kind of maybe an across the board situation. Andrew, what do you think of the queens? Toots, boots. What do you got?
I loved them. My favorite was actually Honey Davenport's.
Okay, yeah.
As I mentioned last time we filmed, I was actually at the finale, and in person, it looked so amazing as well. They were all good. No one was bad. Plastique took my breath away when she turned that corner and she had all those feathers. It was amazing. I actually wasn't the hugest fan of Nina's. I appreciated where it was coming from. But for like the finale look, I expected maybe something a little bit more.
Like elevated.
It was beautiful. Her makeup was beautiful and all of that. But overall, they all hit it out of the park.
Nice. Like what I liked about Nina is it was still kind of like fun and like kitschy like Nina is, but it still gave like what we kind of want to see for the finale is like an elevated kind of glamorous look. Walter, what do you think?
Actually, my favorite, nobody mentioned. I thought Sugarcane looked amazing. I could have done without the reveals.
Mm-hmm.
But when she finally ended up, I thought her makeup looked amazing. I thought the thing around her head was I thought she looked beautiful. Yeah. So Sugar was my favorite. You haven't shown everybody your tits yet. You said you were going to, Alex.
I'm saving for the end. So
okay.
Okay. Have to watch till the end.
Okay, stick to the end, folks.
It keeps the kids around. Chris, what do you think?
Actually, I agree with Walter. Sugarcane was one of my favorites as well. I didn't mind the reveals. I liked it. I kind of wish she did more of that when she was on the show. She really saved the best for last, Vanessa Williams. And again, I think everybody kind of echoed the same thing. Miss Vanjie, I mean, you spent a whole season getting red for like wearing a leotard or like a bathing suit, and in the reunion you're talking like, and I sit there and I already bought all these leotards and you show up at the finale in a leotard.
Yeah,
and it's like,
or a unitard, I would say.
Or yeah, whatever that like Emma Peel Avengers thing she had going on thing was. But I mean, she like, it's still the same thing she kind of got red for. And it's like, really, like, you're not sequestered in a hotel anymore. Couldn't you, like, you couldn't have gotten anything else. But that said, I love Vanjie, and her little bit, like, was one of the highlights of last night for me.
Completely, I agree. Like the out on the street, like with Vanjie. I hope that becomes a show. I hope it's like Billy on the street, but it's Vanjie on the street. Like
that's what she shines at. That's what she can do. Like that's yeah.
She's so good off the cuff. She's so good, like as just being herself and being a comedian. I hope we see more from her. That being said, we did have a lot of filler last night, as some of my panelists said earlier today. Which was fun, and I liked getting like the Queen's backstories and how they feel about the whole season and that sort of thing. But when we get down to it, we want to see those lip syncs, and we got some good ones, I think. What did we think of the first lip sync between? Actually, I wanted to pose this question too, which is a little bit of a surprise to the panel. But do we think the wheel is controlled by a motor that like actually selects the Queen to do the first lip sync? Okay, I got a shaking head there. I want to hear Walter's opinion too. We got another shaking head over there, but let's start with one of the shaking heads, Russ. You think it's all up to chance at this point? You're muted, baby.
Sorry, I'm getting over my cold from being around all those queens.
You're gonna catch something.
And so I don't know. I think it's purely up to chance at this point, because it really, I don't think who picks first necessarily controls the outcome.
Okay, I get that. All right.
Well, let me say this about that. I was a bit surprised that they didn't spin for Silky's lip sync, who she's going to be against, because because if she had picked Akira, then it would have knocked off either Brooke or Brooklyn or Evie, unless they decided to do a save and do three people. So like they did last season. But I know that show was so contrived. I refuse to believe they're letting anything fall to chance.
They may see the look on Silky's face. They may see the look on Silky's face when it's like, pick who you want to go up against, and she's like, yeah, they're all better than me. She's like, no way is this gonna go my way.
Bless her heart.
Alex,
yes.
I will say, being there in the audience, a little behind the scenes tidbit, why I think it's a legitimate wheel. That wheel spun forever. They cut that down dramatically. What you saw on TV, like it just the momentum just kept it going and going, and finally it hit Silky. If there's anything that I think may have been produced in that, it's they told the queens who they needed to pick if it landed on them.
Gotcha.
I don't know if it's true or not, but the wheel itself was definitely real and legitimate.
Okay, well that's good to hear. Okay, but then what did we think of the first lip sync? We've got Silky, we've got Brooke. I think when that pair happened, we kind of all knew how it would go, but I was watching with friends. All of the reveals, a reveal even before like you basically even started lip syncing, I feel like just kind of puts you in the bottom from the get-go. It's like, if you're gonna have a reveal, I feel like wait till the first chorus. Wait till let us at least see the outfit first before you start like doing all the shenanigans. Like, and I kind of blame Shangela for this, like in All Stars, when she kind of set that up of being like, oh, I have to have something big to do. It's like, great, have something big to do. Let us establish what you're already doing first and then get there. Aaliyah, what did you think of this first lip sync between Silky and Brooklyn?
Sadly, I would say I thought it was actually the best lip sync of the night.
Yeah, okay.
Only from Brooklyn's point of view, because even though like the ballet shoes is kind of played out now, I've seen it. Like, all right, girl, I know you got gnarled up toes. That's cute. That's great. Like, I thought hers was probably a bit more into it. Silky, I just felt like she was, like you said, doing the reveals just to do the reveals, and they weren't even cute reveals. It was like, let me take this ratty wig off to show you another ratty wig.
I mean, the wig pulling from the center, I thought was kind of fun. It's like, I don't know if we've seen that yet, where it's like we lose it from the part, but then like, why not use those as pom poms and do like a cheerleading something? Like, you've got them in your hand.
Something.
Yeah.
Something. I didn't care for it that much. I mean, I definitely thought Silky lost it though. I'm still waiting to see a good performance from her. So.
I get that. No, I agree with you. And also with the point shoe reveal, I thought it was clever how she did it. Like, we didn't really know they were there, so that and we haven't seen that before. We've seen point shoes on the runway multiple times now, but I kind of liked how she did that reveal. Chris, what did you think of the first lip sync?
No, I kind of agree with that. I mean, that was a mismatch. I mean, in terms of ability and skill. I mean, Silky talked a really big game all this season about, as she does with everything. I mean, I think we can all agree that other than she gives really beautiful face, there's not a lot else that Silky brings to the table. And I would have loved to have seen, I would have liked to be surprised. But even the personality seems like a really, really heavy cover. It seems like I can't really connect to this person. It's so much that it's a little disingenuous. So, yeah, it was. They were leagues apart, and even with that happening, I felt Brooklyn was holding back a little bit. Like that, the classic lip sync of the season of Brooklyn, the first time Brooklyn versus Evie, like that was an energy level and a fire that like is unmatched at this point. And I saw that a little bit in the end with Brooklyn versus Evie, but in that first one, I think even Brooklyn was like, I can go at half pace. And I'm still gonna murder this bitch.
Yeah.
And she did. I mean, I shared a thing today of poor Silky like attempting what I think was like a death drop, and I don't know what. There's only so much I can say, but yeah, it was lackluster. I mean, we were all waiting for the showdown. We were waiting for Evie versus Brooklyn. I mean,
exactly.
I didn't care about anything else.
With Silky's death drops, they're less of a death drop, and they're more like a turtle got pushed over and is now.
No, that thing which was
like, Walter. Go ahead. Yeah.
The thing that was supposed to be a death drop was nothing more than her falling backwards, flat on her back.
Falling onto her back. That's not impressive.
It's just a date night.
So I think what Silky's trying to do there is that move where she falls on her back and her legs go like up, but she's just
again.
No, and that's not a thing either. Falling back and putting your legs up is you land on your hands behind you. I've done this before. And you land on your hands behind you and you split your
really?
Legs. That's a thing.
Why?
I mean,
we have
multiple times. Ask any guy. But
it's easier when there's a match with Alex.
One of these days he's gonna pop.
We have excoriated Silky ad nauseum, but let me do it just one more time for old time's sake.
And then we'll move on.
It was interesting in her the True Hollywood Story profile that they did for all four of them. She said, they tell me that I'm loud, I'm obnoxious, I have no talent, I don't have good drag, I can't lip sync, and then she listed like 3 other bad things. I just thought, then why are you on the show? And all of these things are not debatable.
Mm-mm.
And to have people talk about, they're going to bring her back for All Stars 84, whatever the next one is just absurd. And her lip sync was in many respects just as bad as that abortion that she did with whoever it was, with Nina. It just was bad.
And she was even like coming back to like I'm coming back to like reclaim and improve myself. And I was like, you didn't prove shit, darling.
Yeah,
And so it's Silky, bless your heart. And she also went off on this rant of like, if people say you're too obnoxious or too loud or what this, it's like, then be you and don't listen to them. And I'm like, don't tell the world to do that. We're already getting enough messages out there of being like, everyone gets a participation ribbon and that means you're special. Sometimes you're not special and you should choose something different to do. I think that's the case with Silky. Own opinion.
Yeah, so I want to throw some magic hints in as well. The way, I guess I got to see firsthand what they say when they say the editing. In person, it really was close. It looked close, and I could have seen Silky winning.
Okay.
Yeah, there's some sloppiness there with that fallback and things like that. But Brooklyn's reveal was actually sloppy in person. The shoes didn't come off right. She kind of had to kick them off. They kind of cut that to make it look better. And yeah, Brooklyn has all the acrobatics and stuff that no one else can come close to. But Silky did a good job, and I thought Silky held her own in that lip sync. I had a hard time looking at Brooklyn because Silky kept drawing my attention for good reasons.
Well, that's
a very nice person.
No, that is good to hear. Just because like I've seen Silky's like I've seen some online stuff of hers, and I just haven't been impressed. So it's good to hear that it's like in person. It actually is like kind of entertaining. So like I appreciate you saying that, Andrew. Like so awesome. Moving on to the next lip sync, we had Akira and Miss Evie. And again, I think we kind of knew how this is going to go. Like Christopher said, we were waiting for the final lip sync of this. But did we think it would ever go that way? I liked Akira's wig reveals. They weren't super big, but I thought they were fine. But I just think like against Evie, it's kind of a non-starter. Russ, what do you think?
Russ is muted
There we
again.
go.
Repeat the question. I was trying to find the mute button.
Oh no! So like, what do you think of the second lip sync of the night?
And then Christopher interrupted one more time.
What did you think of the second lip sync of the night with Miss Evie and Miss Akira?
Akira just didn't hold it. There was a clear winner with Evie in that one. I don't think she. For me, it was like as soon as she started lip syncing, I'm like, nope, game over. Evie's got it. Yeah, it was within the first 30 seconds. I knew that it was going to be an Evie and Brooke night.
Yeah, well, and it's hard when also it's like when Akira is such a pageant queen and Evie is so outside the box, and I think that's much more interesting television-wise and current state of drag-wise. It's kind of hard to put like a pageant queen against like an Evie queen, basically, and think that it's not going to go Evie's way. Aaliyah, what do you think?
I mean, I thought it was meh. It was what I mean. It was cute. I actually had an issue with Evie's outfit because it was so much, and it didn't really look like it fit her. There was no shape. She just kind of was like, she looked like that hammock in a kid's room with all the stuffed animals like thrown up in there. Mm-hmm. And so, like, I kind of missed out, just from my point of view, I kind of missed a lot of the nuances in her performance. I mean, I could see that she was moving around lip syncing, but there was just so much going on in her look, I thought, that it was very interesting to me.
I can appreciate that. Almost like the Gaga Kermit dress in a way. It's like...
Yeah, it was too much. I was like, girl, let's maybe if some of those animals, like, ripped apart or something, like, that would have been cute. But I didn't get that. And then poor Akira, I didn't even see her wig reveal. I just looked up and was like, oh, she's in a different wig that looks like it's sliding back or something. I don't know what was on there. I mean, there was a lot more forehead than, and she didn't know her words.
She did not know her words.
Exactly.
I was like, SOS, girl, that was like, what, 2005?
800 years ago.
Girl, you've got 13 years to learn this song.
Like, I almost lip synced to that, like, in college, and that's a long time ago, kids. So,
girl, I'm just disappointed. I've learned songs in a day. How do you have 14 years and you still didn't slay that song? Whatever.
Well, especially if they know this coming into the finale, they know like all three songs. Like they're like, these are the songs that are gonna happen. You may not know what in which form, but then you have to prepare. So the fact that she was like, I know like sometimes you get the yips and you get like, you know, nervous and shit like that. So sometimes things don't come out. But oof, girl, it's
as a queen, you should never. You should always know your words. If you don't know a song, then girl, stay your ass at home.
Agreed. Andrew, you were nodding along with a lot of that. What do you think? So as someone who was there live, what did it look like?
I think Evie's performance was exactly as I remembered it. It was hard to see her little reveal. I don't know if you even caught it, but she kind of lifted up her dress thing and said "Free Britney" on her panties. We didn't really see that in the audience either because she didn't lift it high enough. But they actually, I think, made Akira look better than what I remember seeing. Like, it was a slaughter. Like, no chance in hell.
Okay. Well, okay, Carrie. Maybe it's not your thing. It's okay. But she's still my top 4. But then again, so did Silky.
She was a lovely third runner-up.
Second, lovely third runner-up. Walter, second lip sync. What do we think?
I thought I was balls deep in boredom. I totally agree with Aaliyah. There was too much going on.
Oh, I know.
Evie's. Yeah. I so had a retort to that, and I didn't use it.
You'll tell me.
I showed self-restraint.
Well done.
But no, I agree with Aaliyah. I was expecting I was expecting there to be a point for all of that shit on her. Yeah. That things were going to come off and things were going to sprout out or something, and it was visually confusing. And Akira didn't know the words, bless her heart. And I think it is impossible for a true hardcore pageant queen to win this
at this
competition.
Point,
yeah, because it's pageant is not what is necessary. What's required to win at this. You can get yourself in the top 4 and all that, but if you're a pageant queen, you're not going to win this show.
Trinity was a pageant queen.
And was Tyra Sanchez?
But that's the thing. I feel like Tyra was probably the last pageant-y queen to win, and that was what, season 2?
Yeah, but Trinity actually was able to do comedy. She was a comedian.
She was able to step outside the box and
because there are plenty of those queens that have done pageants, but if they come walking in the door saying I am a pageant queen, forget it. You're not going to win.
Walking out that door saying you're a pageant queen.
Yeah,
basically.
Do we think that Evie not having a true reveal or series of reveals kind of resets us on the expectation now?
I mean.
I hope so.
Well, that's a good transition into the final lip sync. Is that
well done, Ross?
Well done. It was kind of a reveal. We saw the hat. We're like, maybe the dress will come off. Maybe something will change. And we saw the face in the back, which was kind of fun and very Evie. So I think that was what they were praising her for all season was kind of staying true to her drag, but also elevating and going beyond where they asked her to. And so I think that's why people responded so well, and that's why I think it worked. I also do like that Brooklyn came out in a dress saying reveal all over it. I was like, that's kind of just fun to, we all got a good laugh out of that, I think. So that was really nice. Let's go to Andrew for that one and be like, okay, what did it look like live?
So based on where we were sitting, the second Evie walked out, we could see the back face. The back head. So kind of ruined the surprise for us a little bit. We knew it was coming. But the performance was still amazing. Evie definitely got throughout the entire night. It took about 6 hours to film that whole finale. Every time Evie entered, it was just a roar of applause more than any other queen, which is why I kind of figured Evie was going to win from the get-go, regardless of how she lip synced. But she killed it. Brooklyn was good. I mean, she's very talented in her ballet, but it was boring.
Well, I was surprised there wasn't a second wig with Brooklyn. Especially with that look that we all gagged on the runway when it was the afro into the sex kitten look. That is and she rocks the sex kitten look. That's her look.
Yeah,
if she had something else, maybe even if there was an afro under that and it's a reverse reveal from the previous drag look, that might have been cute.
I feel like that would have hurt her because it wasn't necessary. She just wasn't connecting to the song. She was doing great moves, but Evie connected to that song. Evie conveyed the emotion that you were supposed to convey with it while still doing entertaining moves.
Cool. Aaliyah, what do you think of the final lip sync of the season?
I loved her reveal jacket. I thought it was super cute. I'm gonna make one in my size. I would agree with
multiple
Andrew,
colors.
though, when you watch it, I think, and we've discussed this before in previous episodes. Sometimes some songs don't require all the like jumps and kicks and shablams and all of this, and I really felt like that's what Brooklyn Heights was giving us. Was like Andrew said, like I didn't feel the connection to it at all. I was kind of hoping for some sort of reveal from Evie Oddly. I was kind of hoping for something because she was in such a big ball gown, and I kind of feel like as a drag queen, like at some point, something's got to happen. But overall, I mean, I think Evie definitely, like, she took the patch. I mean, we've been calling it since episode 1. At least me and Walter have. Hey, Walter. Good for let's go to Vegas, girl. Let's go win some money. Right? But I mean, I kind of saw that coming from a mile away. I mean, I thought that they definitely gave their best effort, and I'm sure Brooklyn, she will go on to do, great things, and she can shablam to other songs and whatnot. But for what this called for and what this lip sync called for, I definitely think Evie she stole it. She took the cake. So I completely agree with the outcome of that lip sync.
I get that. And Christopher, what'd you think? Final lip sync.
No, I agree. I mean, these two are very evenly matched in terms of capabilities. But I mean, the bottom line is, out of all those 4 people that we had left, the one who we connected to and that you wanted to root for the most was Evie Oddly. I mean, she had the most compelling, and I don't want to use story because she clearly has an illness and a condition. She also has that underdog thing going for her. Like, I wanted her to win out of everybody who was left. She was great. And especially after her music video performance, I was like, that's who I want, like, that's who I'm in for. And people connect to that. I think the remaining 3, there was nothing I could really connect them about. Like, Akira was consistent. Silky was, well, we beat that horse to death. And Brooklyn, like we said, very talented, very polished. But there's nothing raw there. And I mean, some of the best performers, like, you have that like raw sense of passion, and it's very controlled, which is very ballet. But we don't always want to see control. Yeah. So I think Brooklyn is going to be fine. She's going to go on to do great things in Canada. And I'm kidding. And but Evie, she earned this. Whether we see her or not, like, she earned this title this year. So, I was very, very happy, and I was rooting for her. We were all rooting for you.
I think it's like they always say, like, or we always say that, like, Ru's looking for a point of view, and I think Walter pointed this out, like, specifically at the beginning, or actually throughout the season. Is like, Evie happened to be the only queen who, while she was, faltering a little bit here and there, she was one of the only queens who had, like, a distinct point of view. And so, Walter, what did you think of the final lip sync? And did you think it was like, okay, yeah, duh, this is gonna happen?
Well, I'll tell you what I think of the final lip sync after I make one observation that we have totally glossed over, and that is, how hot is Evie Oddly's father?
He was hot. It's a hot man.
I was like, gosh, could we just keep cutting away to him, please, smiling?
Like, Daddy.
Ride him like a dime store pony.
Yeah. I thought the lip sync, for me, I thought the lip sync was really underwhelming. I thought it was actually the least dynamic of all of the final lip syncs. I mean, Evie looked incredible with that 3-way mirror headpiece. Mm-hmm. That was stunning. But her performance was just very Evita Peron with her arms out for the thing. Okay. And I wanted something a little bit more. And then with Brooke, it was the same problem with her Silky lip sync, which was, we've seen all the tricks already from her doing the thing with Evie, and there was nothing else there. There was no surprise. The spin, back down onto her back, standing on her head, doing the split, bounce. We saw it all.
But she did it as a disco ball.
Yeah, but I totally agree that Brooke is going to do fine. She's going to make a fortune, all of that good stuff. So it really, she'd like the extra $100,000, but in the grand scheme of things, she's not going to. Yeah, she's not going to need it and all. But I thought it was all 3 lip syncs I thought were meh.
Yeah, well, that's the thing. It's like, I agree with what you're saying here, but I wouldn't say it's the most underwhelming lip sync I've seen on a finale. To me, that was last year's with Aquaria and Cameron and Eureka. It's like we had two queens running all over the stage where I can't even see if they're actually saying the words. Eureka standing there and actually lip syncing, and that's why I wanted her to win. But to me, that was like the most messy of like, what's going on?
Well,
right
there's a difference between messy and non-dynamic. I thought it was just. I thought the entire show was boring. I actually left for a moment to go do something during one of those Hollywood story profiles. It was boring my tits off.
I gotta say, I caught it on YouTube. Was it 2 hours long?
No, hour and a half. But it felt like 2 hours.
It felt like 2 hours long.
I kept saying to myself, "You think you know, but you really don't. This is the diary of Christina." I just kept thinking that.
You have no idea.
But the entire season was interminable. I mean, when did it start? September of last year? That's what it feels like.
Yeah, this, again, I've said this before, not my favorite season. I'm glad we get an Evie out of it, though. I think she's fucking fantastic.
Yeah.
I'm glad Brooke out of it. I think she's great. And, you know, a couple other queens around roundabouts, like Anina. I'm glad we got to see her. I'm glad we got to Suga. But overall, like, I was like, okay, it's another season. Maybe 12 will be better. Maybe it'll be worse, but we don't know. But now our, America's Next Drag Superstar is Evie Oddly, and I think we're all in agreement that the right choice was made. So thank you, Ru, for that. And Nina West's Miss Congeniality, which I also think we were like, yeah, that's gonna happen, and it did for the right reasons. Wait, so when we're not having another All Stars now, are we? Is it just when's the next season?
Yeah, we are.
Yeah,
in the fall.
Well, it's not going to air until probably like the start or end of this year.
Oh goodness gracious! I wish they would do like kind of a year without an All Stars and then do a fresh batch. But I guess that's not going to happen. But
VH1 wants to make money.
All right. Well, in that case, since we're not going to see each other for about 6 months now, any final thoughts about Drag Race or drag in general? Let's start with our resident queen, Aaliyah.
Repeat your question.
Any thoughts on Drag Race, the future of drag, our current drag superstar? Anything you'd want to say before the next 6 months?
Yeah, I'm living for the current queen. Good for you, Evie Oddly. Work it, bitch. The show obviously is going to continue on. It's become I'm sure, a cash cow for VH1, for World of Wonder, and it has become a cultural phenomenon. So I wish, like you said, I wish they would take a break off from the All-Stars, but I don't see that happening. They've had like 140 something queens walk through those doors, so they've got plenty of queens to pull from.
Yeah.
I'm actually kind of hoping that maybe in the off seasons of Drag Race, maybe they either create some other show or maybe feature like the Dragula show or one or the other. I kind of wish that they would kind of fill in that void now, so that way you always have some sort of form of drag or artistry on television. I think that's kind of where the future would lie. It's not just Drag Race, obviously.
Yeah.
So that's kind of where I would like to see it go. And,
well, I love that idea, and I can't wait to see your YouTube channel where you're doing that show that you just talked about.
Oh, okay, girl. Sponsor me. Give me money.
I can't sponsor myself, let alone you. Russ, what
$1
any
a
final
day.
thoughts of the season?
This was our first week. This was our first time at DragCon, or my first time at DragCon, and I was just blown away with the entire industry. There's so much market potential for this. RuPaul has done an amazing job building up that franchise and creating the phenomenon.
Completely.
But there's so much more out there. There's an entire ecosystem out there that blew me away. We had 400 exhibitors, 40,000 attendees, and it's a bigger show in LA than it is in New York. I expect that by New York, it will. I see it staggering so that this year's New York becomes last year's size of LA, and it just keeps growing.
Gotcha.
But yeah, there's just so much in this industry that is just blooming, And I'm really excited for what we're doing with Drag Queen Database to capture it all. It's a passion project like this is, and I think it's one that we're excited to be a part of.
Completely. And if you want to see live updates from the pink carpet, you can check out the Drag Queen Database and see the I think the hit video that just was put up this weekend that you guys had. It looks amazing, and I love all the footage you got. It was so awesome.
Yeah, we've got so much more coming too.
Yeah. Andrew, what do you want to see? Any final thoughts?
I do want to share a couple more behind the scenes tidbits from the finale as well. So the first one is, I don't know if any of y'all know who this Christine was who came out and sang "Sissy That Walk," because I have no idea who she is, never heard of her before.
Me either.
But she wasn't really singing. I'm going to throw that out there. She sang maybe the first verse, and then she was Ashley Simpson awkward dancing the whole time. Like, I'm surprised they had that much footage to make it look like she was singing. It was awkward.
Okay. Sorry, gal. Why were you there? We don't know.
Right. There were a lot of Love Connie breaks where she would come on and like jazzercise to keep the audience energized and going. So that was a nice tie into the season since she was part of the season. She's also at DragCon too. And then one of the reasons I also was pretty sure Evie was going to win, I don't know if any of you read this online because it did leak, is they made Evie redo her acceptance speech when they felt winning. And like, why would they do that if they weren't planning to show it anyway? Her first one was simply just, does anyone have a baby I could eat? But VH1 didn't want to air that, so they made her do the one you saw on TV. But overall, it was fun. Ru messes up her lines a lot. Like they had to redo a lot of her stuff because it's all on a teleprompter. I'm just pulling back the whole curtain here. But it was a lot of fun. I really enjoyed it. The queens all looked amazing. The returning queens from past seasons. They actually had Eureka and Kennedy Davenport lip sync to Edge of Glory as well.
Oh, wow.
Blocking the other queens just to get audience reactions because while Evie and Brooklyn were up there, they had to film them. They wanted audience reaction to it too. So instead of making them do it twice, they just had Eureka and Kennedy come up. And it was funny because they're pretending to do all the moves, like the back bends and stuff. A lot of fun.
That's cute.
Yeah. But it was 6 hours, and I really had to pee by the end of it. And they wouldn't let you, between scenes, they would let you run to the bathroom, but if you didn't make it back in like 2 minutes, they shut the doors and you couldn't get back in. So I'm not wanting to miss anything, I just held it the whole time. But it was definitely worth it. I recommend it. If you ever have the chance to go to a finale filming, go. It was a lot of fun.
You know what I saw that was interesting was Fortune Feimster was sitting next to every parent.
Yeah. They did a lot of seat fillers too. So like Raja left right after her entrance thing. Like Raja didn't actually stay and watch the whole finale.
Like, I'm good.
Pull people from the back up front as the other queens would leave because a lot of them left throughout the filming. So by the end of it, we started in the back, but Garrett and I were like third row by the time Evie and Brooklyn were crowned. Mm-hmm. So that was kind of cool. We got to move up as the show went on.
Nice.
Yeah, it was a great time. In terms of your actual question, future of drag and all of that stuff, I do think, as Russ was saying with DragCon growing, the industry's growing. It's just going to get bigger and bigger from here. I will plug again our pink carpet video. It was so cool to be on the carpet actually filming that. And we have a ton of interviews coming up as well. We were in the press room. Only one season 11 girl. It was Honey Davenport. Well, that was one of our best interviews, I think, if you just kind of ignore me. I'm a little awkward in it. But it was all right. We have Trixie Mattel, we have Gia Gunn, Peppermint, Coco Peru, a lot of big names that we got to interview, and then a lot of local queens as well, including our Aaliyah, our featured queen, Aaliyah Sky. So look forward to those. They'll be coming out hopefully soon. We have a lot of editing and kind of cropping to do with those. But it was such a great time, and I can't wait for New York.
Lovely. I hope I get to New York. I hope I'm there for it. Christopher, final thoughts?
My final thoughts watching this season. I love the show, as I feel like we all do. I feel like this season came under a lot of heavy scrutiny. I think some of it was harsh, but some of it I think was a little well justified. I think going forward, what I'd like to see the show return to is, I feel like the one article made this analogy really much better than I could, which was the producers' hands and everything went from looking like puppet strings to steel rods. Yeah. And it's like, I can really, really see the producing in the show now. And it's like taking me out of it a little bit. And in a way that it didn't used to, even like, though I always knew it's a reality show. I mean, all of them are produced. We have to expect that.
But it's one thing to smell it, and it's another thing to see it. You know, it's like...
Yeah, I agree. And so I think I don't want to see the show lose some of that authenticity that I feel like it really had going all the way up to season 6, and then really kind of started to slowly dip a little bit. I do want to see a bit more representation of different groups. I'm glad the past year we've had, between Peppermint and Gia, we've had, even though it had to be Gia, trans contestants, and sorry, Gia. And I'd love to see drag king performers. Like, I would love to see the world of drag kind of expand in that way, because like in doing my research and watching other shows like Pose, and like there's so much more to the world of drag than just this one image that we're seeing. And I don't want to see us forget all of these other people who sometimes don't get the right airtime because they're like not quite TV marketable. So I'd like to see Ru make an effort to kind of bring those people in as well. And just kind of, don't lose the core message of the show, which is just, it's all about not taking life too seriously. It's all like about playing and having fun and like coloring outside the lines. And so just, that's my whole thing. It's like, this still is one of my favorite shows. I love it. I love to dissect it. Just, don't fall too in love with the character you've created. All right. Just, stay real, RuPaul's Drag Race. Okay.
Completely. Yeah. And even if there's not a contestant out there that they bring in that's, completely outside of the box, and maybe there's room for that challenge. Like one week where it's like, you have to do this thing that other drag queens do, where it's like, oh, completely not what Drag Race is, but for 1 week you get to be that. And last but not least, Walter. Hey, boo.
Hey, boo. My general concern for drag is that RuPaul is the only game in town.
Yeah.
And it is, when it comes to drag, it's RuPaul. And if you aren't on RuPaul, you aren't getting the visibility that you need to have a career and all of that. And I think for the health of the art, there needs to be some competition, because Ru has fallen into a highly formulaic way of doing the show, where every season it is pretty much exactly the same thing. The finales are exactly the same thing. The final episode is exactly the same thing, and it is stale. As much as I enjoy the show, it's stale. Mm-hmm. And they need to switch it up. It doesn't have to be a wholesale change where it's just a completely different show, but it's the things that we've discussed before. They need different writers. They need to bring in a different producer. They just need to freshen that thing up. It is stale. And they need some competition. It can't just be RuPaul.
Yeah.
It's a monopoly.
I completely agree. Or maybe it's 1 week, like they have a guest judge where all of a sudden the guest judge is picking the queens who lip sync, or it's like, it's something like that.
One of the suggestion I'd make, Ru, if you're watching, which I'm sure you're not, but just in case you are.
Hi, girl.
Is that he constantly talks about knowing your gay history, or queer history as he likes to refer to it now. Yet he never brings an old queen onto the judge panel. He doesn't bring on Sybil Brunson, doesn't bring on just any of the old
Jackie
ones.
Beat.
Yeah, any of them. Just have them be an extra person on the panel and give those people visibility. And I don't know why he doesn't do that. It doesn't cost him anything to do that. Instead, he brings on these C-list celebrities that nobody really knows who they are. Seriously. So he really, if he really respects the history of it all, then he needs to be bringing in the old queens.
Coco Peru, Carla Jean.
Absolutely, Coco.
Yeah.
Barley Jean, these ones that are of an age, they are not going to go on the show. And they already have established career. Or Mrs. Richfield. Why isn't Mrs. Richfield on the thing?
Yes. Where did Alex go?
Lipsinka. Why isn't Lipsinka on it?
She should be.
He doesn't even bring them in as guests for a mini challenge.
I don't understand it. I agree.
I think that so we've been 11 years with Drag Race. Drag existed before and drag will exist after. And I think over the next 10 years, I think we'll start to see some leaders stepping forward in the industry as well. If you think about even the stronger queens that have moved their career forward, Willem is doing so well without Drag Race. Shangela, did anybody see the commercial last night?
Yeah, the McDonald's.
Yeah. Shangela did a McDonald's commercial. That was probably the most revolution. That made more than $100,000.
But I think with Walter saying, like, and I completely agree with him, because, like, some of those queens I've worked with in P-Town, and I love them and respect them, and, like, their time should be, like, I don't think that they should have to wait down, like, this show's been on 11 years. Their time should be now to at least be a guest spot. Like, no, Coco Peru is an artist. She is a storyteller.
And deserved an Oscar nomination for Trick.
Yeah, she, like, I would like to even see a snippet of, like, you know, the most we've had is Lady Bunny sitting in a casket, like, while they roasted her. And meanwhile, she could have roasted all of them so much better. And, I mean...
But if you make them a guest on the show, you're simply reinforcing that one franchise.
Bunny, but at the moment there isn't anything. And
well, there is. Leah mentioned Dragula. They just announced season 3. The Boulet brothers are producing that again. And it started on YouTube, but it's growing every season. The budget gets bigger.
Yeah, but it's not on network. It's not on cable television.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, I agree.
And more is moving off of cable television too. I mean, it's one thing to really, when you step back and think that all of the legitimate gay programming is subscription based. You have to subscribe to a premium cable channel to get representative content today, and that's just wrong. When RuPaul's Drag Race makes it to broadcast television, then we've hit mainstream. But what's going to end up happening is the shift to digital is going to make it a Hulu original, a Netflix original programming. Those types of networks is where the next phase of this is going to be. And those are lower startup costs and easier to get investment for. So it's not long before there's another drag reality show out there that just blooms and takes over.
And Dragula has done what Christopher was saying. Coco Peru has been a guest judge on that. Willem and Alaska have been guest judge. They bring in drag from other avenues as well and highlight it all.
Yeah,
but Dragula is the future.
But you know, Ru is right now kind of the biggest thing in the game. Like, she is, like, for sure. And, you know, like, Coco was just on Will and Grace a few times this season. And so she's on, like, a broadcast channel, like she was on NBC. And I just feel like even for a short period, like, the exposure, like, love Connie. Seeing her on this season, I loved that. And I saw that I loved that little bit with her and Evie, because love Connie is genius. She's so funny. And I think with a little bit exposure, you can get even other young people like, oh, who's Coco Peru? I should check her out. And they get to fall in love with her too. Same with Varla Jean, and same with Miss Richfields. Like, you know, when they're in Provincetown or they're in Seattle, they can go see. Dina Martina is another one. Dina Martina is genius as well. You know, it's like, give them like 5 minutes just so that, like, some young queer kid can watch and be like, maybe they don't relate to somebody like Vanjie or Brooklyn Heights, but they can go, oh man, that fucked up shit, that really speaks to me. Like, I dig that. So, I mean, I agree. I I completely agree with Walter there. I would love to, like, those were the queens who, when I met them, like, they gave me a platform in their shows and everything in P-Town. And so, like, I have a soft spot for them. So, like, I want to see them do well. Jackie Beat especially. Jackie and I go way back. I love her. Where'd Alex go?
Well, we lost Alex, but girl, I'm ready to wrap this up for the day. I don't know.
Okay. So Alex is totally gone.
Yeah, we lost him.
So why don't we
Okay,
just
then
wrap
it's
this up?
over to you, Aaliyah. Sign us out.
Well, if that is the case, viewers at home, make sure you go to Drag Queen. Wait, say it again now, Andrew. Tell us.
It is dragqueen.info on a web browser or on your phone, or dragqueendb on all social media.
On all social media, go to YouTube, check out the pink carpet if you haven't seen it already, and we will be seeing y'all for All Stars 5.
And what is your thing? Your channel, Aaliyah?
I don't have. You can go on Instagram and look me up. Go to Aaliyah Sky. That's AALIYAHSKYY 007 at Instagram or on Facebook.
Alex.
Oh, look who it is.
Hello. Sorry.
She's back. She's back.
We
in
were
time
running
to wrap it
extremely
up.
long, and so my phone ran out of juice. So that was why that happened.
And he
Okay.
had to put his shirt back on.
Edit.
Am I a farmer?
Well, wrap this up, my friend.
But look, all right. Well, so did we all finish up our final thoughts?
Yes, we're ready to go.
I promised titties, so hold on. And titties. There they is. They're so
Yes.
Yes, babe.
very-
Chili in there, Alex?
Look, you know
Wait,
me. I'm
wait,
always
do
like-
one more time. You weren't on full screen.
You're just wanting to take like screenshots over there.
She got more breasts than I do today.
Point the camera down.
Is it there? That's why I get cast in drag a lot, because I can push them together. They look like real titties. Anyway, thanks, guys. I'm so sorry that I blacked out there for a second. Stupid phone. Sorry about that.
Well, you can catch
but
our comments on the replay.
I will. Yes.
Yeah.
Everybody can. I love talking with you guys. Thanks again to Aaliyah and Christopher for filling in for me when I couldn't be here to host. Thank you guys for all of your opinions, especially Andrew for your backstage knowledge there. That was so cool.
Of course.
And until next time, I guess All Stars is the next.
Yep.
Yeah.
All right. Until All Stars, we'll see you then. Everybody say bye.
Bye.
Opulence. You earn everything.